All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're doing something a little different. We're not just reviewing a book, we're actually stepping right into the haunted heart of Southern folklore. I'm talking about a world where promises linger long after death, and where grief, well, grief can be so powerful it literally stains the stone of the earth. Let's get into it. We're starting with a promise. Just listen to those words. Robert, I'll never leave you. It's a whisper, right? A whisper at a graveside that just refuses to fade. It echoes through the decades, and the simple vow, it becomes something so much more real and, frankly, so much more terrifying. Okay, but before we really dive deep, you need to understand where these stories even come from. You have to meet the book's curator, who, and I'm not kidding here, isn't exactly from our world. So, the book is Jeffrey's Favorite 13 Ghost Stories. The author is the amazing Kathryn Tucker Windham, and it's a collection of real Southern folklore and ghost stories. But here's the kicker, and she makes this super clear right from the start. She wasn't exactly working alone on this. Yeah, you see, this whole collection started because a ghost named Jeffrey decided to move into the author's house. And he wasn't, a scary, evil ghost. He was just persistent, super persistent. Apparently, if she got sidetracked from writing, Jeffrey would start stomping down the hall and slamming doors. He was basically a ghostly editor, nagging her to get these stories down before they were lost forever. And this kind of sets a deceptively cozy, almost funny campfire tone right before it gets really, really dark. So let's move on from that. Let's call it a curious premise and get into the real melancholic heart of these stories. To really get what this collection is all about, we're going to focus on just one of the 13 tales. It's a haunting story from Fayette County, Alabama, and believe me, this is exactly the kind of story Jeffrey was so insistent about. And this is the story of a man named Robert Musgrove. He was born in 1866, right in the aftermath of the Civil War. His entire life was really defined by two huge loves, one of steel and steam, and another of flesh and blood. And it all came to a tragic, tragic end in April of 1904. Okay, so the first great love, the railroad. I mean, this guy was completely obsessed. From the moment he saw his first train, that was it. Being an engineer was the only thing he ever wanted to do. And for him, these giant steam locomotives, they weren't just machines, no way. They were like living, breathing things, almost like an extension of his own soul. And then, something changed. He was already in his 30s when he found his second great love, a young woman from Amory, Mississippi, who somehow managed to capture the heart he'd only ever given to his engines. All of a sudden, he's thinking about marriage, a family, a whole future that didn't just run on rails. But that future, it just wasn't meant to be. It was violently, horribly derailed. One dreary night in April 1904, Robert Musgrove died in a head-on collision. Just like that. A life that was so full of this brand new promise, gone. A sudden, brutal end right there at the throttle of his train. But here's the thing. The story doesn't end with Robert's death. Oh no. In fact, that's where the real haunting begins. You can really feel the essence of this whole legend in 5 key moments. 5 echoes that, to this day, just refuse to fade away. So it really all starts with just how deep Robert's connection to his work was. I mean, listen to this quote. His own coworkers said his engines would respond to him like they were trained animals. This wasn't just a job for him. It was a bond, a connection so deep that it felt almost supernatural, even before any ghosts showed up. And then, when he fell in love, that passion just exploded. He actually told his firemen, "Listen to my whistle. Know what it's saying? It says, I'm in love. I'm in love." Can you imagine? He wanted the entire world to hear his happiness, literally blowing it out of the train's whistle as he raced down the tracks toward her. So when the tragedy happened, his friends found this really small, kind of heartbreaking comfort. They said, if he had to die, at least he died doing the one thing he was absolutely born to do. A horrible end, for sure, but a fitting one in a strange way. And this is the moment. This is where everything changes. Picture it, his funeral. The grave is filled. His fiancée, completely heartbroken, kneels by the fresh mound of earth. And as she gets up to leave, the people standing close by, they hear her whisper those words, "Robert, I'll never leave you. Not to them. She's talking to him. It's a quiet promise spoken right into the silence of that graveyard. Okay, so fast forward. Years go by. His fiancée lives out her life. She eventually passes away. Then, one Sunday in 1962, decades later, some churchgoers notice something on Robert's tombstone. Something that shouldn't be there. Something impossible. It's the unmistakable silhouette of a young woman in prayer. It was so clear you could see the details, her hair piled up, the curve of her eyelashes. It was her. That promise she made, it had become real. A silhouette of pure grief permanently etched into cold, hard granite. So, after a story like that, what's the point, right? What are we supposed to take away from such a chilling story of love and loss? Well, the big idea here, and this really runs through the whole collection, is that our most powerful emotions, love, grief, loyalty, they don't just disappear when we die. They have a kind of energy, an energy that can actually transcend the grave and leave a real physical mark on the world. This isn't about ghosts rattling chains in an attic. It's about an emotion so powerful it can literally stain time itself. All right, so with that theme in mind, let's get to our final judgment on this incredibly atmospheric collection. Look, this explainer isn't really about telling you, go read this book. It's about trying to explain the experience of it. And let me be clear, this is not a book of cheap jump scares. Not at all. What it does is immerse you in this deep, sad, creeping dread. It's the quiet horror of a promise that refuses to die, of a love so strong it leaves a permanent shadow on a tombstone. It is an absolute masterclass in creating atmosphere. So, for its incredible, just unparalleled ability to create that haunting atmosphere, and for how deeply it explores the way memory and emotion can literally shape our world, this collection gets a 9 out of 10. So if this whole vibe of atmospheric dread is your thing, you will absolutely love the psychological terror in Shirley Jackson's The Haunting of Hill House. And if you want more of that rich Southern folklore, where the line between the living and the dead gets all beautifully blurry, then you have to check out The Stories of Eudora Welty. And that brings us to the final thought I want to leave you with. Think about it. If your own deepest promise, your most powerful moment of love or grief, if it could leave a physical stain on the world, what mark would your story leave behind? For more deep dives into fascinating topics like this one, stuff that really challenges how you see the world, make sure you follow and subscribe. Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.